Hi, my name is Jillian Calero, and the date is Wednesday, July 29th, 2020. There it is. Okay, let's get started. So I decided to make my presentation about the hormonal control of implantation and early embryonic development. So I wanted to start off with capacitation, which is the final maturation step in sperm, which allows the sperm to swim and fertilize an egg. I thought it was important to start here because fertilization and implantation cannot happen with this step. So this actually occurs in the distal part of the fallopian tube. The sperm must penetrate a layer of granulosa cells and a glycoprotein coat called the zona pellucida on the egg. Then there's an acrosomal reaction, which is when the sperm releases a powerful enzyme to get through the barriers of the outer layer of the egg. So this fusion of this sperm and the oocyte is called a cortical reaction. And the cortical reaction releases cortical granules in the peripheral cytoplasm of the egg. And then it releases their contents into the space just outside the egg membrane. So once these contents are released into the outside of the egg membrane, these chemicals rapidly alter the membrane and surrounding zona pellucida to prevent polyspermy, which it's essentially preventing more than one sperm to fertilize this one egg. So when the egg is fertilized, it becomes a zygote and it moves into the uterus. So then we move into the implantation in the endometrium. I thought this picture did a very good job showing the zygote implanting itself into the wall of the uterus. You can see all layers of the blastocyte and the cells of the epithelium. So one of the hormones involved in the implantation in the endometrium is progesterone. So progesterone essentially helps smooth muscle of the tube relax, and transport from the fallopian tube to the uterus happens slowly. So once the oocyte moves from the fallopian tube into the uterus, it becomes a blastocyte, which is a hollow ball of 100 cells in the uterus. So there are 3 layers of this hollow ball: the chorion, the amnion, and the allantos. So the first layer is the outer layer, which is the chorion, which is an extra embryonic membrane that will enclose the embryo and form the placenta itself. The inner cell mass of the blastocyte will develop into the embryo and into 3 other extra embryonic membranes. These membranes are the amnion, which secretes amniotic fluid, in which the developing embryo floats; the allantis, which becomes part of the umbilical cord that links the embryo to the mother; and the yolk sac, which degenerates early in human development. So endometrial cells grow out around the blastocyte until it is completely engulfed. Cells that will become the placenta form finger-like chorionic villi that penetrate into the vascularized endometrium. And once again, I think this picture did a really good job showing this process. So now we move into the hormones of the placenta. This picture here, we can see the first trimester and all of the hormones that correspond with it, second trimester and third trimester, and how hormone secretion and concentration correlate with each of the trimesters. So unless the developing embryo sends a hormonal signal, the corpus luteum disintegrates. Progesterone and estrogen levels drop, and the embryo is flushed from the body along with the surface layers of the endometrium during menstruation. So here, two important hormones are highlighted. It's progesterone and estrogen. Underneath, we have a few more hormones that are highlighted that we're going to get into. So I actually want to start off explaining HCG and HCS. So the corpus luteum remains active during early pregnancy because of HCG. This specific hormone enables the corpus luteum to produce progesterone. So HCG is a peptide hormone that's secreted by the villi and developing placenta. If we remember back to the picture of the blastocyte, we see some of those villi here. So HCG is secreted by those villi. HCG is structurally related to LH and binds to LH receptors. Under the influence of HCG, the corpus luteum keeps producing progesterone to keep the endometrium intact. So by the 7th week of development, the placenta has taken over progesterone production and the corpus luteum is no longer needed. At that point, it finally degenerates. HCG production by the placenta peaks at 3 months of development, then it diminishes. So the picture I chose here does a really good job showing the development of HCG, prolactin, progesterone, and its development throughout pregnancy. So it's very obvious here that the HCG levels are highest when the corpus luteum is intact, and then when the placenta starts producing its own progesterone, we see the progesterone levels continue to rise, but HCG levels diminish simultaneously. That's because the placenta has taken over the progesterone production at this point. And then we get into HCS, which is related to growth hormone and prolactin. The role of HCS is to it has the ability to alter the mother's glucose and fatty acid metabolism in order to support fetal growth. And now let's move into the hormones estrogen and progesterone. Estrogen and progesterone are produced continuously during pregnancy. Estrogen contributes to the development of milk-secreting ducts, and progesterone maintains the endometrium and suppresses uterine contractions. So during labor, obviously, progesterone is inhibited in order to continue with uterine contractions and proceed with labor. With high circulating levels of these steroid hormones, feedback suppression of the pituitary continues throughout pregnancy, which prevents another set of follicles from beginning development. And that's it. Thank you so much.